Hi, my name is Cindy Rang with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington. You can find us at fabricpatch.net. And today we are working on block number 3 of our Jaye's Bouquet block of the month. All right, so block number 3. So this has been a really fun quilt to work on, and I just have to have full disclosure and state that the one behind us is not one that I personally made, but a friend of mine, Jennifer Oates from North Carolina, made this one. She just whipped right through it, got it done. She used the fabric that was suggested by Corey in the block. This is Corey's fabric line. We still have some of it in the shop. It is really, really nice because it's a fun block of the month where there is a pieced block and a stitched block every month, which makes it kind of cool. So what we've done is, this was our first month. We did this as a separate class, and then 2 weeks later we posted the pieced block. And then we did this one. 2 weeks later we did this one, and now we are on block number 3. And I've mentioned before, if you get behind, it totally doesn't matter. I know sometimes it's easy to find some time to sit and stitch, and sometimes it's not. Doesn't make any difference. It should always be a fun, enjoyable thing, and if you put unnecessary pressure on yourself, it kind of takes the fun out of it. And this is just one of those that it might take you a couple months to do if you're somebody like Jennifer, or it might take you a year to get it done if you're somebody like me. So anyway, so we're going to whip right through this third one, because this one is kind of a fun one, because this particular one covers stitches that we've already done before. So this is her Dahlia, and in her Dahlia she has you do a chain stitch. The chain stitch is right here, and we learned the chain stitch in block number 1. She also has you do a stem stitch that comes all along here and over on the leaves, and the stem stitch we learned in block number 2. There is a back stitch, and the back stitch is up here outlining some of these petals on the Dahlia, and the back stitch we also learned in block number 1. There is a fly stitch right here, and we learned, and right here, I guess. And we learned the fly stitch in block number 1, and then there is a feather stitch up here, and we learned the feather stitch. We did that both in block number 1, and we also did it in block number 2 in a couple of different spots. So because all of these stitches that she uses on her Dahlia we've learned in previous blocks, I'm going to show you something new because I think it's fun. I love to follow a pattern, and I love that they show me what they've made and exactly how to make it and create it so that it looks exactly like hers, which I absolutely love, but I also like the opportunity to do something a little bit different. So I might change it up and use different colors. I might use different color threads. I might play with different thicknesses of threads, and I think that that's a fun thing, just to take her artwork but embellish it just a little bit. So I'm going to show you fun stitches that you may or may not decide to use on some of your other pieces. And on this particular one, I'm going to start with a drizzle stitch, and where I think we could use it is maybe in here in the center of the Dahlia. Okay, if you happen to hear Maisie May, she is playing on the floor. Maybe at the end of the video we'll have some pictures so you can see what it is that she's doing. She is playing with binding at the moment. But anyway, so this is her Dahlia block. So what's really nice about the way that Corey puts this together is this is the actual size, and this is what we would trace for our pattern. And you can trace this with your Pigma marker 0.005, or if you want to use a friction marker for it to come off later, you can do that as well. And then what she's done is, just in case you don't have something else to look at, she did kind of this larger than life close-up image, so you can really see all of those stitches, and you can see the chain stitch, you can see the back stitch, you can see the stem stitch, you can see the feather stitch right here, and the fly stitch down here. So you can see everything that she's done all close up, and her color choices. So if you've decided that for your dahlia you want it to be pink, or you want it to be purple, or you want to use not a variegated thread, or whatever you'd like to do, totally doesn't matter. This is just the pattern according to her, and so and the colors according to her, but you can do whatever you'd like to do. And then again, for block number 3, our pieced block, we'll be doing that 2 weeks from today. So super simple block. You can certainly go ahead and work ahead if you'd like to do that and spend the rest of your time piecing, but we'll just cover a couple little tips and we'll put that together in 2 weeks. So what I was going to show you is a little thing called a drizzle stitch, and I kind of like it. It's something that is just a little bit fun, and there's a whole lot of flair to it. So as usual, whenever we're doing our little stitches, what we've been doing is we practice just a little bit. And I want to talk to you a little bit about practicing, because don't go crazy on the practice, right? So if you need to practice your stem stitch, practice it for just a little bit and go, okay, I think I have it down. You could be practicing, and wasting all of your time on this little piece of thing rather than this. And what's going to happen is, as you practice your stem stitch, you might not be great down here, but by the time you get up here, by the time you get here, certainly by the time you get here, you're going to be great. So don't worry about it. Just keep going. The more you do it, the better you'll get. And no one is going to find those first few stitches where it seemed a little bit shaky. So it doesn't make any difference. Just practice just for a minute until you get the rhythm down. And really what I usually tell people is, by the time you've gone through one length of thread, your practice is over with. It was really just to kind of get that movement down, whether you're a swooper or a stabber. Okay, so for your drizzle stitch, you need a couple things. You do need a size 1 Milner needle. It kind of doesn't matter the brand. I think we sell several different brands of this. We sell all very nice brands. What's unique about a Milner needle is that it's a size 1 is a very large needle, and a Milner has the eye is the same width as the shaft. And so it's kind of nice when you're doing cast on stitches. It's fairly important. So, and then the thread that we're using for this happens to be one of the little petites. If you bought a thread kit from us back when they were available, you did get this color and multiple of these threads in your, multiple colors in your kit from us. I really like that thread. I like it because it is a nice 12 weight that's kind of fun to use, and you don't have to do any separating. The other thing that you need when you're doing a drizzle stitch is you need a pin cushion. And so this is just the pin cushion that I'm going to use. If you like one like this, we have a similar pattern in the shop. You can email me or comment below and we'll link it for you below. All right, so what we're going to do with our little practice stitch is we're going to start for a little drizzle. We're going to start with tying our quilter's knot. So we have our little knot down here. I've got a pretty good size knot, and I'm going to put the drizzle stitch right here. Okay, so I'm going to come up, and then I have this parked right on top of my pin cushion, and the reason I have it on top of my pin cushion is because, sure enough, you're going to unthread that needle, and I'm going to park the needle right there inside that pin cushion. And then I'm just going to cast these on. So if you're a knitter or a crochet, well, I guess a knitter, then this would be familiar. Just think about this as your knitting needle, and all you're going to do is put your finger underneath, turn it, and tighten it up. Turn it, tighten it up. Turn. The sound effects are much nicer than any music we can come up with. And if you're following a pattern, the pattern might tell you to do 20 cast-ons, or it might tell you, 12 cast-ons. Sometimes that depends on the weight of the thread that you're using. For this particular thread and for the space where I'm putting it, I think I'll probably do about a dozen cast-ons, maybe 10 or a dozen. Of course, I'm not counting because I'm yakking, but I think I'm going to end about right there. And what will happen is, because it's a variegated thread, as I keep going, it'll change variegation as it goes. Okay, so once I have the number of cast-ons that I want, and I don't know if you can see that there, I am now going to rethread the needle. And just in case you didn't already figure it out, this is the only reason why people don't like drizzle stitches, is because you then have to rethread the needle. Now when you rethread the needle, it's kind of weird because your automatic inclination is to pull that thread all the way through. If you do that and you pull that through before you get through this, you'll end up with a funny little loop on the top of it. So I'm not going to show you that. I'm just going to tell you that. So if that happens, you'll go, ah, yeah, that's what happened. So instead, pull this thread out so that you have, you know, very little left on the tail, and most of it is here in the center. You want that tail to make it through the eye of that drizzle stitch before this does. So once I have it rethreaded, I'm going to lift it up out of the pin cushion, and almost like a French knot, I'm going to hold on to this in between my fingers, and I'm going to pull the needle, and it'll come right through because I wasn't super tight with that, and I'm going to pull that through, and as I pull it through, there is my drizzle stitch. And see, it's kind of a fun little three-dimensional stitch, and it kind of curls. And if I pulled it a little bit tighter, it's the same thing as most of our other stitches. Depending upon how tight we pull it, it could look a little bit different. I could pull it tighter, and it could end up being just this tiny little curl. And the other thing is that you can see that it would look different if I had, say, 30 cast-ons, right? So let's do another one. I'm going to come up right next to it. Whenever we do those, it's kind of fun to do maybe, you know, 3 or 5 together in a little collection. So I'm going to do another one right there. Same thing. I'm going to take off my needle, park it. And I kept that one fairly tight. I might go ahead and put on a few more. Of course, I wasn't counting before. Probably won't count this time either. Let's see what's fun. Uh-oh. Okay, so here are 3 little drizzle stitches, and you can see where I could just, I'm going to knot it really fast so we can look at it a little bit better. All right, so here are the drizzle stitches, and what's kind of fun is they really look like little flower stamen, you know, and I don't know if you were counting. I wasn't counting. You could make them super long, super curly. And by curly, it's just that when you pull it down on there, they'll kind of automatically spin. But they really look like massive, just even in this size, they look like massive French knots. I mean, there's a French knot right there. And there is our little drizzle stitches. So they're kind of fun, kind of unique. You can put them in all kinds of different places. The only thing is, and rethreading the needle isn't something that everybody likes to do, but you know, a lot of it too depends on the thread. So it is one of the reasons that I like to use a 12 weight or at least a narrower thread. Sometimes when you use some of these really cool 8 weight threads, 8 weight or 3 weight threads, they are really nice and they're pretty to use, but when it comes time to rethread that needle, it can get a little bit frustrating. So that's my old eye tip is 12 weight. And the drizzle stitches are just as lovely. So anyway, that is my tip for drizzle stitches and for just a fun little option. I know that when Corey designed this, she designed this for beginners, thinking that you would have some easy pieced blocks, some easy embroidery stitching, so it doesn't make you crazy. And I feel the same way. I think that that's important. These are all really nice, pretty blocks. Her artwork is really nice, and the stitches are fairly easy, but I just wanted to be able to teach you something, and since we've already taught you all of the stitches used in this block, it's a perfect opportunity to learn something new. So, all right, and then in 2 weeks we'll do this block, and then we'll move on to block number 4. So I'll see you pretty soon. Happy stitching. Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.